Hi everyone, it's Dr. Hudgens. I have read through your reflective exercises and posted feedback in the assigned rubric. Please note that I will give you points on the rubric that are inside your Blackboard grade page. So make sure you click on the assignment and go back in and read the feedback that's within the rubric. If you have questions or concerns as you go through and read the feedback, or you have anything you want to discuss, I want you to feel comfortable asking me. Either we can exchange some emails or you can give me a call, especially if you're not sure what is meant by feedback that's provided or you feel like there's an error. I am human, so I may make mistakes, so take the time to read the feedback. The other thing I'm going to caution you to do is to take the time to apply the feedback I'm providing you this week to your exercise and your work next week. This is essentially so important when we deal with formatting and APA. There are mistakes that if you continue to make every week, the first few weeks I'm pretty gentle with grading, but if you continue to write without using proper APA format, the consequences of that are going to increase. It is important that you put those skills together early on in the course so you don't repeatedly lose points for the same mistake that most of the time is a very easy correction. So that being said, some general feedback I want to give you in regard to APA formatting that there is a pattern with enough of you that it's worth a discussion. When you are using in-text citations for authors, whether there are 3, 4, or 5 authors, how you present those in APA format is different the first time and then subsequent times. The first time you use a group of authors as an in-text citation of 3 to 5, you put all of their last names and the year that the article was published. In subsequent uses, if you use the same work more than once, so on the second time you use it, you only put that first published author's name and et al., comma, and the date. That's different than if you use 1 or 2 authors. If you do use 1 or 2 authors, every time you cite those authors within your body of work, you cite them 1 or 2 authors. You do both of them. 3 to 5, you do those differently, as I just stated. If you have 6 authors, that is when you post just the first published author and the date with et al. After the author's name. These 3 groupings of in-text citations are different. You need to learn them and you need to use them appropriately when you're writing an APA paper. The other thing I want you to be aware of is that you need to be using level headings throughout your papers. This is an expectation of graduate writing. Level 1 tend to be broader topics, and then level 2, 3, and 4 are subtopics under the broader topic. Your APA manual is a great tool to guide you on when to use level 1, 2, 3, and occasionally 4. Your last paper is probably the only one that's going to lend itself to 4 levels of heading. From this point on, at a minimum, you should be using levels 1 and 2. The longer the paper, the more complex the paper, the more likelihood that you're going to need subsections, and that's when you add level 3 and 4. I want you to thoughtfully think about the organization of your paper. The benefit of also doing this is it guides your reader. And if you're struggling with writing clarity and you think you're writing about a prompt that you were given in an assignment, but you don't tell me that's what you think you're writing about, and your writing isn't clear, I may not be able to connect the dots. So, again, APA format, do it because you're supposed to, but also because it helps guide your reader and it helps organize your paper. The last thing I want to talk about is the use of direct quotes. At a graduate level, direct quotes should be at a very minimum. At this level of writing, you should be synthesizing all of the ideas you have in integrating what other authors are saying. So you should be able to tell me you read an article and this is what the authors said in their article. You should not have to copy 2 and 3 sentences to tell me what they said. Just tell me what they said. I'm more interested in your synthesis of the information than what the author wrote. Now, there are times that you may want to use a short quote because it's essential, and there's no better way that you could put it. I'd love to be able to write at that skilled level that people would have to actually direct quote me because what I said was so unique and so well written. I'm not at that level yet. But I do want you to be aware that most of the time you're going to synthesize what you've read, and direct quotes are rarely used. That includes the Bible. I'm okay with you citing direct verses from the Bible. That's really okay. But it's also okay for you to reference the Bible and tell me what that verse or sections of verses mean and how it applies to what you're writing about. It is so important that when you insert God's word in a paper, that you insert it within a sentence, that you don't just drop it in, copy and paste from whatever Google source you're using, and plug it into the end of a paragraph. That doesn't tell me why you think it's there. It doesn't tell me what context you're using it in, and you're not connecting the dots for me as your reader. So if you're going to use direct quotes from the Bible, or you're going to synthesize what you read, put it in context of a good sentence. Okay, that's about it for general feedback for this week. Let's talk briefly about next week. Next week, you've got your first discussion board. Please know that I know that when you copy and paste into Blackboard for discussion boards, that the format gets a little wonky. Please make the effort to clean up your formatting so it looks really close to APA. If some of the font is a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, or it's not perfectly in alignment, that's okay. But I should look at it and see the general skeleton of a good attempt at APA. I'm more interested in the content and I'm more interested in your ideas, but APA is on your rubric, so I want you to be thoughtful about that. The easiest way to avoid any copy and paste errors is to type directly into the text box of your Blackboard discussion board. I know not everybody wants to do that. I get it. Just know the risks you're taking. The discussion board asks you to look at the ethical and legal implications of a case. My encouragement to you is to be aware that anytime there is an ethical dilemma, that there are multiple right answers, there's multiple approaches that are often in conflict. My encouragement is that you look at the case from every angle. Avoid making assumptions. There's a real, especially with this case, there's a knee-jerk reaction of making an assumption that one thing is really wrong, but there's always rationale for things being done. So just move slowly through it, think through what your argument is, and be able to support it in your discussion board. The other thing, as you do your discussion board, make sure that you remember to post on time and that you're communicating clearly with your peers. 2 peer responses are needed, and I would encourage you to challenge one another's thinking, challenge one another's ideas. It's okay to say to someone, I don't agree with you. Have you thought about this? Or when I read it, this is what I took from it. I think it's wonderful that very often discussion boards get into wonderful cheerleading and belly rubbing and you're fabulous. But every once in a while, a little conflict, a little diversity, a little rub is okay. So if you read something and you're like, I don't really agree with that, it's okay to politely, respectfully challenge an argument. That's really where our rubber hits the road in creating a scholarly conversation and increasing our own intellectual insight. So be brave, but be polite, and move forward with your discussion board as skilled as possible. I'm going to wrap up for now. I will look forward to seeing your discussion boards next week and providing you feedback. Typically, my grading is done early in the week. As I said in my weekly announcement earlier today, I am going to be slightly distracted this weekend, and you'll probably be getting feedback on Tuesday or Wednesday next week once I get home and before I get on an airplane on Thursday. So do not hesitate to email me or touch base if you have any questions or concerns. I am dialed in, at least at the moment. Sunday, I'll probably not be so dialed in. So be very careful when you post things. So I will let you guys get back to your life. Touch base with questions or concerns. If anyone is wondering, the dog over my right shoulder, my right, your left, is perfectly fine. This is her afternoon nap time. That's Madeline. Every once in a while, she'll show up in my videos. She may show up in my lap. She's a part beagle and pretty much sleeps all day. She's out of her puppy phase, which we're really grateful for. I hope you guys have a great week. I'll look forward to reading your discussion boards and hearing from you as needed. Y'all take care.